Welcome to today's class. Hope you are all are doing well by the grace of Almighty Allah. Our today's topic is narration. We are going to discuss about how to convert direct speech into indirect speech in the case of assertive sentence and in case of interrogative sentence. So before starting the class, let me introduce myself formally. I am Fatima Sultana, lecturer, Department of English, Maulvi Government College, Maulvi. So, what did you learn in the earlier class? Let me revise that one at first. First of all, we did an review. We did a review of the previous class, and then we did some exercise regarding changing narration, and then we discussed about how the rules of changing narration according to tense. That is how we change direct speech into indirect speech by following the rules of tense by we discussed about how to change direct speech into indirect speech in case of present tense, in case of past tense, and in case of uh, future tense. Now, in today's class, we will discuss about converting assertive sentence into indirect speech. We know that there are actually five kind of sentence. First one is assertive sentence. Second one is interrogative sentence. Then there is imperative sentence. Then there is optative sentence, and then we have exclamatory sentence. But we cannot discuss all these topics in a single class. So in today's class, I would like to discuss at first about assertive sentence, and then I will discuss about interrogative sentence. Both these two type of sentence are actually very important in our day-to-day use. So I hope these will help you to understand English language in a better way. Sentence that make a statement are called assertive sentence. We all know that. This is actually very basic. This sentence may be positive, it could be negative, it could be false or true statement, but it should be a statement. That is assertive sentence actually. So to convert such sentence into indirect narration, we have to use the rules that we mentioned in the earlier classes, that we have to use the rules of pronoun, use the rules of tense to change this type of sentence. But we have to use some new rules. First of all, if there is no object in an assertive sentence, the reporting verb will be say or said. Okay, so if there is no object, we have to use say or said as the reporting verb, and if there is any object, we have to use tells or told as the reporting verb. And instead of inverted comma, there will be conjunction that. That is, we cannot use the inverted comma, but we will use a conjunction, which is that. So the structure of an assertive sentence that is turned into an indirect speech will be first we will put the subject, then there will be say, oblique said, or tell or told. We will use say or said when there is actually no object, and we will use tell or told when there is an object we have. Then we will put the object if we have any. Then there will be no inverted comma, there will be that, and then subject of the reported speech will be put, and then we have to use the verb and the rest of the sentence. So this is actually very easy. All you have to do is to remember this structure. It will help you to convert an assertive sentence into indirect speech. So we have some examples here. First one is Nina said, I am very tired. And we are seeing that the indirect speech will be Nina said that she was very tired. So we follow the rules of pronouns and tenses, and then what we did, first we say there is no object actually, so we had to we use said, not tell or told. Then instead of using the inverted comma, we use that, and then we maintain the rules of pronoun, that is I will be turned into she, and we had to you maintain the rules of tense, that is am is turning into was, and we put the rest of the sentence. And the next sentence we have Jinesh, Nina said Jinesh, I'm very tired. We did the same. Nina told Jinesh that she was very tired. So there is actually an object. So we use told instead of said, and then we changed the whole sentence using the rules of pronouns and tenses. So here we see that in the first pair of sentences, the verb said does not change in the indirect speech. This is because Nina is just making a statement, and we don't know whom she is talking, isn't it? We don't know whom she is talking, so we cannot change the reporting uh, verb said. And in the second pair of sentences, the verb is said changes to told because Nina is speaking to Jinesh. So we know whom she is talking to. So we have to use told here. So, tenses, pronouns, progressive adjectives, possessive pronouns undergo the change. Possessive adjectives, possessive pronouns undergo the changes mentioned in earlier classes. We have to maintain all these rules at the same time. You should not add and change the meaning or leave out any important part of the direct speech statement while converting it into the indirect. So, this is actually very important because um, if we change an assertive sentence into an indirect speech, we cannot um, leave anything. We have to change the whole part. We cannot leave anything important because it will change the meaning of the sentence, and we cannot change the meaning of the sentence. So when the direct speech statement contains two or more sentences, they should be separately introduced or properly linked in the indirect speech. So in the earlier examples, we actually discussed about the basic rules, but in case of exams, we find some very tough assertive sentences of which we need to turn into indirect speech. So here we have an example. It has actually two parts. The prince said to the town dwellers, I want to meet the king of your land. I know how to kill the dragon. Take me to the king at once. So this is actually, it has two or more sentences. It is actually a paragraph, and the whole thing makes a statement. So it will change into you have to introduce everything properly, and you cannot leave any of the sentence. So the whole thing will be the prince told the town dwellers, as there are objects, so we have to use told as the reported verb. The prince told the town dwellers that he wanted to meet the king of their land. As he knew how to kill the dragon, he ordered them to take him to the king at once. So we see there are some new changes in this sentence to connect the three sentences at one. That is, we have three sentences here. Let me utter them at first. I want to meet the king of your land. Why? Because I know how to kill the dragon. So we use as he knew. And in the third part, we see take me to the king at once. This is actually an order. So we use the ordered them in this sentence. So, like this, if any direct speech statement contains two or more sentences, you have to um, separately introduce them, and you have to properly link them to turn them into an indirect speech. You cannot leave any of the part, or you cannot change the meaning. So there are some other words that can be used as a reporting verb in place of said. That is, we don't need to use said or say or tell or told always. There are some other words, or there are some synonymous words, like we can use accept, add, admit, agree, argue, assert, claim, complain. Then we have declare, deny, explain, insist, moan, mumble, mutter, object. Then we have point out, promise, remind, remark, reply, suggest, and warn. So we have some other words that can be used instead of said. But all these words have some specific meaning. Okay, so whenever you are using these words, you have to know the meaning and use them in the perfect place. So we have some more examples about assertive sentence. First of all, we have she says I am writing a letter to my brother. Okay, so there is no object. So the indirect speech will be a sentence that will contain says. She says that she is writing a letter to her brother. This is very easy. Then there is another example. She says, I was not writing a letter to my brother. So this is actually in past form. So it will change in a very easy way. She says that she was not writing a letter to her brother. Then there is another example. She said to me, I am writing a letter to my brother. There is an object. We know whom she is speaking to. She actually speaking to me. So here we cannot use says. We will use told. She told me that she was writing a letter to her brother. So before moving to converting interrogative sentences into indirect speech, let me revise the part of assertive sentence one more time. First of all, we have to follow all the rules of pronouns and all the rules of tense. Then we have to what we have to do, that is, we cannot use any kind of inverted comma. Rather, we will use the conjunction that. And if there is no object, we will use say or said. That is, if we do not know whom the speaker is speaking to, we will use say, says, or said. And if there is a object, that is, we know whom she is speaking to, then there will be tells or told. So this is very simple. All we need to do is follow all the rules at the same time, and everything will be cleared properly. And then we discussed the structure. You need to remember the structure, and it will help you to solve all the examples easily. Then we discussed about some examples. The toughest one is actually if we have two or more sentences, and we cannot change the statement, we cannot change the meaning, and we cannot leave any part behind, or we have to connect all those sentences and to give a proper meaning. So this is actually the toughest one. And we have discussed about some other words that can be used instead of said. But all these words, they have specific and special meaning. So if only if you know the meaning, and only if the meaning of the sentence demands, only then you can use these sentence. So we have some more examples also. Then we are moving to the topic about converting interrogative sentence into indirect speech. So what is interrogative sentence? We all know it very clearly. Interrogative sentences are sentence that is inquiring something. So there are actually two main kinds of interrogative sentence. Those which start with an auxiliary verb, and those which start with a question of words such as what, why, when, where, how, etc. So in both these cases, we have separate rules to follow. Interrogative sentences beginning with an auxiliary verb are changed into the indirect speech by using the connective if or whether. So if there is any auxiliary verb, we have to change the sentence by using if or whether. The reporting verb said will changes to asked, queried, questioned, demanded of, inquired of in the indirect speech. Note that of is used after inquired and demanded only when the reporting verb has an object. So there are four things we have found here. First of all, we can use asked, queried, questioned, demanded of, or inquired of. Okay, instead of using said in an interrogative sentence. But when will we use of? Okay, so we will use of after inquired or demanded only when the reporting verb has an object. So if there is no object, you cannot use inquired of or demanded of. The most common reporting verb used to report a question are asked. We all know that. And there is actually inquired of. So the reporting verb queried is somewhere investigative. So whenever the sentence is investigating something, then we can use the reporting verb queried. And demanded of is the strongest of all reporting verb mentioned above. It is used when an explanation is desired. So whenever someone is asking for an explanation, that it is demanding for an explanation, only then we can use demanded of. So you see there are four reporting verb, and all four have different four or five. All four or five have different and special meaning. So whenever you are using these reporting verb, you need to follow this meaning. Note that the indirect narration is always in the assertive form. Okay, so in other words, you cannot. In other words, the interrogative sentence in direct speech will changes into assertive sentence in the indirect speech. Okay, for example, do you know the way home? You cannot leave it in an interrogative form. So Gita asked if I knew the way home. Okay, do you know the way home? Asked Gita. We do not know whom she is speaking to, so I assume that she is speaking to me. We need an object here. So Gita asked if, as this sentence is started with a do, so we use if as the form. So if I knew the way home. Okay, as why knew? Because it is a past tense. Gita inquired of me if I knew the way home. And if you use inquired of, we know that if we use inquired of, we need an object. So we have to put a me as the object, that is whom she is speaking to, and then we will change the rest of the sentence. So whenever you are changing interrogative sentence into indirect speech, you have to change it into assertive form, and you cannot use the question mark. It will be dropped and it will be a simple statement. So there are some more examples. She said to me, are you coming with us? She asked me if I was going with them. As there is are or auxiliary verb, so we have to use if or whether. If I was going to them. Or she asked them if I was coming with them. Okay. Then again we have, she said to me, are you unwell? She asked me if I was unwell. She said to me, am I to wait for you till eternity? She inquired of him, if she was to wait for him till eternity. So it is actually, we are using not asked, we are using inquired of him. Why? Because there is an object. She said to him, that is, there is an object. So whenever there is an object, you have to use inquired of. So I said to him, where you present at the meeting yesterday? I asked him whether he had been present at the meeting the day before. So I am not using if here, I am using whether here, just for change. So the woman asked the stranger, should I help you? The woman asked the stranger whether she should help him. So you see, all these auxiliary verbs like should, could, would, ought to, and might do not change in the indirect speech. Okay, there are all the auxiliary verbs, they will not change. Then we have some more example regarding the WH question. What will we do when there is a WH question? We are talking about questions that are starting with am, is, are, was, where, or should, could, etc., or do, did, doesn't. But what will we do when there is a WH question? Like the question is, what is your name? Asked Jatin, and Jatin asked what my name was. So you cannot omit what, there will be what, but it will be a statement. It will not be interrogative anymore. You cannot use the question mark here. So Jatin asked what my name was. We changed the tense because the sentence demands it, because the sentence was in past form, so we have to use was here. So the question words who, what, when, why, where, which, whose, whom, and how do not need any conjunction in the indirect speech statement. That way we do not need to use that. We have some more example. I said to him, who are you? Asked him who he was. The mother said to the daughter, do you know where John is? The mother asked the daughter whether she knew where John was. Have you anything to say on behalf of the accused? Said the judge to the lawyer. The judge inquired of the lawyer if he had anything to say on behalf of the accused. So the judge inquired of the lawyer. That is, there is an object, and the we know with whom the judge is speaking to. That's why we need to use inquired of. So we are at the end of our today's class. We have discussed how to convert assertive sentence into indirect speech, and we have discussed about how to convert interrogative sentence into indirect speech. So in both these two type of changes, what we did, we had to follow all kinds of rules of tense and pronouns to change a direct speech into an indirect speech. But apart from that, we learned some new rule regarding assertive sentence and regarding interrogative sentence. So I hope you will practice these things at home. It will make your learning perfect. So thank you all. Hope you all have enjoyed my class. Thank you.